Group and the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook with volunteer coaching legend Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo-Heron, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Today we'll talk some UT football and baseball. Donnie Moore will announce high school scores from around the area, and then Mark It Down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Mandy B Street Realty, features Maryville High School tennis as Coach Christian Burns will visit with Marcus. Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo-Heron presents the Anderson Lumber Company High School Player of the Week segment. William Blount tennis will be on the agenda. Donnie Moore and the panel discuss sports headlines from around the country before the Tennessee Smokies spotlight shines on the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. And finally, the panel gives their Shelter Insurance Bowl predictions for the week. Today's Preakness will be in the discussion as the Goatee Sports Page panel picks their winning horse. And now it's time for the UT Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Klein Dental Arts SEC Notebook. So let's bring in former UT coach Ray Trail, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo-Heron, and Marcus Fitzsimmons. In the news, UT sports news, with the draft being ended there a week or so ago, some pro football experts have voiced their opinion that the Tennessee offense under Josh Heupel does not prepare players for pro football. Coach Trail, you know a lot about offensive football. You coach the offensive line at UT. Is this offense, this hurry-up offense that they have over here, is it fit for the pro game? Does it prepare quarterbacks and receivers and whatnot for that setup?
Yeah. Everybody thinks about going to the pro that you got to be doing what they're doing, and that's not right. I mean, you can run the single wing, and people would gripe, that it's not preparing them for the pro, but the object is in college is to win.
Yeah.
And you do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
And if it fits your program, that's what you do. But you don't care about what anybody else says. Yeah. The whole idea is to win the game.
I think a lot of what they were coming from was the fact that it's a hurry-up offense. In the pros, you don't see a hurry-up offense. In the pros, your quarterbacks basically drop back, throw the ball. And I think some of the routes of the receivers came into question because this is a big play offense.
Yeah.
And a lot of the receptions that are made are big plays, on down the field, long passes, so forth and so on. I don't know.
That's just somebody got a gripe.
I guess.
I mean, they must be a losing team or something. But,
yeah.
You do whatever it takes to win for your team. I don't have to be like anybody else. I run what I'm comfortable running. You think when Bud Wilkerson in Oklahoma started running the wishbone, everybody eventually went to it.
Right.
And
well, that wishbone really wasn't a pro offense.
No,
by any stretch
it
of the
wasn't
imagination.
anything
Or the
close.
veer.
The veer, or none of that was. And you're not supposed to be in college. You're supposed to be getting the best out of your guys of what you got. You can't go out there and run the pro offense if your quarterback can't throw the ball very well. That would be stupid because we run it because the pros want us to. No, you run what you run and what you do well. It's just like you're coaching your basketball. You did whatever it took to win the game.
Whatever material you had, and whatever fed in.
That's right.
Troy, Joe Milton, UT's quarterback going into next season, he really fits all the attributes going in for a pro quarterback. Big arm, physically strong, drops back better than he runs, so to speak. So, a banner year for him, somewhere close to the year that Hendon Hooker had. It'd be hard to duplicate that year that Hooker had.
Exceptionally.
But you would think that he would be high on the list next year, huh?
Yeah, if Joe Milton has a good year this year, he's a first-round pick. Yeah. And, I mean, I'm not saying that I think that Joe Milton is like some, superstar NFL franchise quarterback. That's yet to be determined. But when we sat here 2 weeks ago and talked about, Anthony Richardson going number 4, Joe Milton has all those same attributes. He's not as quick on his feet as Anthony Richardson is, but he can still run a little bit. He's a big guy, big arm. And if he has a good year at Tennessee this year, he's going to be a first-round pick next year.
How much do you think his draft status is going to depend on how guys like Richardson and to a degree, how his predecessor does at Detroit. Like if they all flop, does that change the NFL's dynamic of how they grade him?
I don't think so, because the NFL has always been they've always been prototype over college talent for the most part. Obviously, Bryce Young isn't the prototype, and he went number 1 overall. But there's no difference in body and skill level, or perpetuated skill level, than Jamarcus Russell 15 years ago, and Anthony Richardson now, and Joe Milton now. So nothing's changed in that regard in how NFL GMs view quarterbacks. They view them in the very similar way of, if you have the body for it, you have the arm strength for it, we think you can get it done. And
you got to have the mental.
Yeah, you do.
The mental is important,
very important
up there as the physical. Yep. It's some guys have got the physical to do it, but they don't have the mental to do it, and they don't read quite as good as they should.
Yep.
And that's the main thing, as a quarterback. The quarterback used to be, he ran the offense. And, he was not, you didn't want a runner because he gets hurt. And you go back to Brett Favre and all those guys, they stay in the pocket as much as possible. They didn't want to run. And
the reason they don't read the game as well in the pros is because it's an infinitely faster game in the NFL than it is in college.
Oh yeah, well everybody's faster.
Of course it is.
The whole thing's faster.
Yeah, right. Not just the offense, but the defense.
Yeah, the whole thing is faster.
Sure.
And that how many quarterbacks every year go up there? How many make it? It's not many. I'll tell you that right. I tell you, not many.
They get a lot of them are shuffled around.
Oh yeah,
they don't work out and move somewhere else.
And some of those guys stay up there 6 or 7, 8, 10 years, and all they've ever played is second team quarterback. Right. May get in a game, you may not. So. It's a lot more to it than you just think about.
Yeah. And it takes more than just being a good quarterback too. Colin Kaepernick was a good quarterback.
Yeah,
he didn't make it.
Nope. But there's so many tangibles in there that you look at, and you say, well, he can run fast. Well, everybody on defense run fast.
You better believe it. Even the defensive tackles can run pretty fast.
Defensive tackles can catch you. Yeah. So you got to have it's a mental game. You can say what you want to. It's not. Quarterback is not the physical game; it's a mental game.
Well, from Tennessee's offensive standpoint, one thing that helps, I think, I would think in the draft is the fact that they throw the ball a lot. For a quarterback and a receiver, because in the pros, if you can't throw the ball, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
pretty much.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not looking for the runner; I'm looking for the guy that can stand in the pocket and hit people.
Exactly, and this offense over here, it does that.
Oh yeah,
there's no doubt about
it. Had you rather have a guy coming in that's throwing the ball but we're putting everything on the quarterback. Now this year, we're gonna have to do something different, because the difference in 5 years between the quarterback from last year to this year, you're starting out with a raw talent. This year, it's not like that guy 25 years old. He's been around, and he picked up everything right quick, and there's going to be a difference. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. Before we leave UT football, what was on my mind last week was a little bit about the fans they're all hyped up. They're saying, well, we got two tough games next year. We got Georgia at home and we got Alabama down there, and they're pretty much saying, well, we'll run the table on everybody else.
How about South Carolina?
But here's my question. Here's my question for them is, what's the trap game next year? What's the trap game? Now I know it's kind of hard to pick one right now, because as the season progresses next year, teams there's some surprises and teams win games that you didn't expect them to win and so forth and so on. But I'll start down there with Troy this morning. Who's the trap game next? What school's the trap game going in?
I'll say Florida.
Yeah.
I think.
Wow.
I think it's Florida because I think you have so much kind of adversity in that program right now, and I think a lot of people will go into that week and assume that Tennessee is going to, beat the tar out of Florida because, Tennessee's trending one way, Florida's trending the exact opposite way.
And there's a lot of unknowns down there right now. I mean, as far as who they've got, and Tennessee haven't seen some of these players that's going to be on the field.
The truth of the matter is Tennessee has not had the greatest of times winning in Florida.
2004, I think, is the last time they won down there.
That's going to be a game where I think every Tennessee fan looks at it and says, this is the year we beat that streak. We ended that one this year. But it is Tennessee, Florida, and we said this last year even, it's just a game that no matter what it looks like on paper, it's going to be a tough game because that's just the way the rivalry's been for the last.
And it's
however,
it's the first SEC game, and it's the one right out of the gate that kind of sets the pace
for
the rest of the year.
What was the score of last year's Florida?
Well, it was
down to 3 points.
I don't know exactly what the final score was, but Tennessee dominated the whole game and was out in front substantially. And then Florida made that comeback right at the end and basically was driving to win the game.
That's right.
And ran out of time, I believe.
That's right. 3 points.
Yeah, it was.
Tennessee won 38-33.
Yeah, it ended up pretty close game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And we thought Florida would be awful last year.
Yeah.
But
it was big because we had.
I tell you what, with this deal now, you never know what you're going to have, because you can turn the page, and if you go out there and recruit it, and then you get transfers in, which nobody knows anything about, and you can turn the page in one year.
Yeah.
You can go from here to here, right quick.
Marcus, your trap game.
I'm still going with the opener with Virginia. I know everybody says, well, there's just a quality difference and all that. I think there's so many intangibles for Virginia being the first game they're going to play after what happened at the end of last season. And Tennessee has not played well in its openers against a Power 5 team. They were significantly better than Pitt the last 2 years by the end of the season, but they did not look good against them playing them in the first couple of weeks. So I'm not saying Virginia is a gimme. I think there's potential for Tennessee to have problems in their opener and Virginia to capitalize on it.
That would be a devastating loss. I mean, to lose to Virginia the opening game. I'm here to tell you. You got Florida, you got Georgia, you got Alabama. I would hate to lose to Virginia.
Well, you hate to lose any of them,
I
mean, pick out one you want to lose to.
I mean, with all of the hype and everything going in, that game would be a devastating loss, I think. I mean, it'd be tough. Coach Trail, trap game.
It's the first game. It's the first game of the year. And you're standing there at this point, just like you talked about. Then you're looking at Alabama, you're looking at Florida, you're looking at all those. You have to win that game. That would be two black eyes in one game.
Yeah.
But I think, and the thing is, what everybody's going to have to do is you're going to have to think about the quarterback situation over there, and I don't know how you can't get two quarterbacks ready to play. Now, I mean, you can't do that. You can't get enough reps with one if you're going to try to work two and try to get them in the game and stuff like that. That's the big problem.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, this is probably the most impatient fan base I've ever been around.
Oh, terrible.
And if Joe Milton, he didn't get off to the good start the last time he had that opportunity. Fortunately, he had the good game down in the Orange Bowl, and that kind of really set the stage for what we're talking about right here. But let's say he doesn't get off to the start, and say that Marcus's prediction comes true, that they lose to Virginia in the opening game in a trap game, so to speak. I'm going to tell you right now, they're already talking about Nico.
Oh yeah,
I mean that's what you're going to hear. You're going to, and then you've got, after that loss to Virginia, you got a game or two in there to regroup, so to speak. But then you got to go down there to Florida. Well, now the pressure's really on.
Oh yeah.
Go down there after you've lost to Virginia. So.
To me, it's a no-win situation here if things don't work out like they're supposed to. I mean, you can go from the outhouse to the penthouse or the penthouse to the outhouse in a quick deal.
Yeah, I'm going to take as the trap game. I'm going to take Texas A&M. The reason I'm going to take Texas A&M is because I don't think that they're that they're giving them a lot of respect. That Jimbo Fisher down there had the tough year last year. They're going to be coming in here, and people are going to say, well, we got them here at home. That's not going to be any problem. But listen, that's going to be a little different football team, Texas A&M, I think, this year than you've seen than you saw last year. A lot of times when you come off a tough year, you're better the next year. You just kind of regroup, and you tend to turn things around a little bit. And they're coming off of maybe if they beat Florida, and things are kind of rolling pretty good. And here comes Texas A&M in here, bang. I think from my end of it, I'm gonna say Texas A&M. With the trap game.
I tell you, the team that will shock most people is the South Carolina now. They're the only ones that's got a quarterback back. Yeah. Everybody else lost their quarterback. Yeah. But he had a heck of a game against Tennessee over there. I mean, a heck of a game.
Well, they built their confidence for this year last year. Yeah. So, they're going to come in here with a whole different framework than they had the year before, the 2 years ago when they came in here. So,
but no, I tell you what, they embarrassed Tennessee last year.
Yeah,
embarrassed.
That was I don't know who called that a trap game, but whoever they did, I didn't see that coming. There wasn't any way I saw that coming.
I didn't see it coming either. But that's what I'm saying is he's the only one quarterback back out of the top bunch. Yeah. And he had a heck of a game against us.
He really did. He played. That's the best game he played all year.
Oh, I tell you what, that was a superstar game.
He lived up to his hype. But Donnie Moore, I don't want to leave you out. Trap game.
I'm going to say it's going to be South Carolina as well, Mike. You're coming off a game against Texas San Antonio where they can literally coast, I think. Maybe not. But that's the last game in September. You're going to have 2 weeks off before you take on Texas A&M. But South Carolina's going to come in here, and they're going to have a lot of confidence against the Vols.
Okay.
So Gamecocks.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of different. I think everybody just about picked a different one almost for the most part, but we'll see what happens. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about Tennessee's athletic department this year and what a year it's been. It's been a banner year for Tennessee athletics and athletic director Danny White. The football team 11-2, Orange Bowl win, just missed the playoffs. Basketball Sweet 16, got a win over Duke, powerhouse Duke. Lady Vol basketball, Sweet 16, had a regular season win over national champion LSU. Tennessee baseball, zeroing in on postseason play now. I'm feeling more confident that they're going to have that home field advantage, at least to start out in. And in the Lady Vol softball team, regular season and tournament champions, and now, looking at possibly a national championship. So the question is that I want to pose to everybody. We got all those going for us right now. All these programs are doing well. Which program do you think will continue to play at a high level consistently over, say, the next decade, the next 10 years? Which program's in it for the long haul here?
That's a dumb question.
No, it's not.
That's a dumb question. Over 10 years?
Yeah.
Why, you don't know who's going to hire the coach.
No, I want to know. I want to know who's going to be consistent and last.
Well, if I could predict that, buddy, I'll tell you what.
I know it's a tough question because all of them are doing well right now.
You'd be the AD, wouldn't you, Coach?
I know, but you can go from the penthouse to the outhouse pretty quick.
Yeah.
Here you want me to pick 10 years.
Then you need to look at that program that's going to do that and maybe mark them off the list.
The thing is, this new deal with that where you can transfer all the time, how do you know from 1 year to the next what you're going to do?
You don't.
I mean, you don't know.
In 10 years, how long? You don't know what that rule set's going to be.
Boy, that's for sure.
All right, let's say 5. Just answer the question.
Yeah, 5 years.
5
I
years
don't care. I mean, 5 years, 10 years.
You've got a dynamic change that I don't think NIL can go the way it's going without blowing up in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question.
Which way
Yeah,
is he
Troy,
gonna
go ahead.
I'll
What do
answer
you
your
think?
question. I'm going to say baseball.
Yeah,
You
I
look
like
at,
baseball.
I think you look at it and you say, okay, they've committed to upgrading facilities. Now, granted, they haven't started those yet, really, but they, at least on the surface, have committed to facilities. They just announced that new entertainment center over there by the baseball stadium. Recruiting it looks like it's going to be their best recruiting class ever going into next year's freshman class. I'm going to go with baseball.
And you got a young coach over there.
Young coach,
seems to be real
super,
happy here. They're taking care of him.
Kids love him. I just think that program is going to continue to be really good for the next few years.
I like baseball. Let's talk about basketball. Marcus, before I go to you, I'm concerned about Rick Barnes. How long is he going to be here?
Yep.
Is he going to be here 5 more years? 10 more years? Probably not.
No.
5 more years, and then when you have that transition in basketball, can it maintain that particular level? So I'd be concerned there a little bit. Marcus?
If we're going on a 5-year basis, I kind of like the softball program, even as competitive as the SEC is. I think the Weeklies pioneered in the SEC bringing in West Coast talent, and it's something that every other SEC team replicated since then. And I think it's one of the reasons the SEC is in the position it is softball-wise. But I think she has made that next step in working both with the NIL and the transfer portal. Because you look at their win yesterday and some of the key players were people that came in and transferred that put up some good plays against Tennessee from another team in the past. So I think Karen's got a really good approach to it, and I would kind of trust the softball team.
But you're a little bit with her. You're a little bit in the Rick Barnes territory. She's been around here a long time.
Yeah, but we're talking 5 years, and she just got an extension through 28.
Okay. Well, I was talking 10. Troy was talking 5.
Well, because they wouldn't answer the question at 10.
I know.
So I
know.
had to change it for you.
Well,
I wouldn't.
Man, you and I won't even be here for 10 years. What are you talking about?
Well, we hope so.
We hope so, but I think with no guarantee.
No, but anybody here football? Anybody feel comfortable with football? Staying consistent?
I want to see him do it one more year.
One more year in football?
I want to see him do it one more year.
Because a lot of people would say,
ready to commit.
A lot of people would say, well, yeah, we got Josh Heupel. The recruiting's good. The NIL deals are good here. We got the house put together, and now we're ready to make that consistent
If they can
run.
do it this year after everybody they lost last year and still be a 9-10 win team this year, I think that they go right up to that top of that list with baseball for me, because that would show that this coaching staff kind of has an idea of how to rebuild rosters on the fly and seems to be doing something right in that regard.
Donnie Moore, you got a pick?
I'm going to concur with Marcus and go with softball with one caveat. I'm going to say that Karen Weekly retires in the next 5 years, and they hire Sarah Feckety Bailey as head softball
That could
coach.
happen.
That could happen. I
happen.
wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibility.
That could happen.
And I said, when I was talking about the SEC, I just want to put it in there. If I counted it right yesterday, in the opening round of regionals, the SEC went 10-1. You had 11 teams get in. 11 of the 13 teams in the conference get into the NCAA tournament, and all but one of them won their first game.
Who lost?
I believe it was South Carolina lost 3-1.
That would be a good hire.
Troy, what program goes down? Which one goes down the quickest in the next, well, you want to say 5 years?
I'm not going to say men's basketball because, I just don't know how long Rick is there, who you replace him with. There's a lot of unknown there, so I think it could stay where it's at. At this point, we kind of know who Rick Barnes is. I don't think it's getting any better. This is what they are. But I could see them kind of staying the course for the next 5 years. I'm going to go women's basketball.
Yeah.
Women's basketball.
You guys kind of know. You guys kind of know how I feel about Kelly Harper, and it just doesn't seem like the SEC is getting any easier, and it doesn't seem like Tennessee's getting any better in a lot of aspects of the game.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I'm there, and I don't know if that's fair to her. I mean, she's winning 20-some games. She's putting teams in the Sweet 16, but she can't take it to the next level, and she's not winning SEC championships.
The concern to me is Tennessee, Lady Vols' identity as a basketball team
gone.
are things that are, you like to talk about who wants to come to play for Rick Barnes to play defense. But when you come, the Lady Vols staples are things that are not attractive to recruits.
Mm-hmm.
Defense, rebounding, taking care of the ball, good shot selection.
That's the same as Rick Barnes.
Yeah.
But
But
you can't sell that in the recruiting trail anymore. And the discipline factor that Tennessee has, you see kids leaving at a very high level because they do not like the atmosphere.
That and like it just feels like you're seeing this tradition flip in women's basketball right now, whereas, a lot of the kids who are now coming up to play college ball, they almost at this point were infants, toddlers when Pat Summitt was coaching. They don't remember any of the good days of Tennessee women's basketball, and you couple that with the fact that it doesn't look like Dawn Staley is going to slow down anytime soon. What Kim Mulkey's doing at LSU, Gino's still going to be around at UConn. The women's game
at South Carolina.
Yeah, the women's game has grown so much in the last 2-3 years, and Tennessee just hasn't been able to keep pace with that.
Yeah. Well, one thing about Tennessee's overall programs here right now, Coach Trail, is they've got the deal going for them where it just seems like all these programs are feeding off the other program.
Yeah.
That was the kind of the sense when we were over there from '68 to the end of the early '70s. It was good all the way across the board, and I'll tell you, when you get it rolling in that direction, you got yourself a real athletic department right there. I mean, you got teams saying, well, football sets the pace in the fall, and then everybody follows suit. And that's kind of what's happened, the last couple of years. And with this year, it's just kind of gotten better, hasn't it, with all the different sports.
Yeah.
And football, again, setting the pace with that really outstanding year. Huh?
Well, at the time that you were talking about right there was the football fed track.
Sure did.
A lot of our players ran track and were, sprinters and everything.
Yeah.
And, you start getting that intertwined there of two programs that are really good. And, my gosh, it helped. I tell you what, it helps the track team. You pick up your big, fast guys that really can change your whole offense quick.
Yeah.
And we don't have that now. I mean, I don't know of anybody over there that plays two ways.
Yeah.
But that was one thing that we had. We had molded those programs together, and they helped each other.
Exactly. And the rapport between coaches and between programs seems to be a lot better. And I get that feeling over here. There's a lot of good vibes between each of the coaches and the programs that are going on over at UT, and don't think that means a lot either.
I tell you what, it's a whenever it all comes down to, they're all on the same plate.
Exactly. That's what they got to be on.
That's right.
If you're going to have if you don't have that, the athletic director is going to be looking for a job.
I guarantee you.
Real quick. Hey, it's time to turn the page, and next up is the local scoreboard with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore and Mark It Down featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Hit a grand slam with Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union to win big on savings. On first, member managed funds account. On second, free spend account. On third, certificate accounts with competitive savings rates. Load your bases at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Must use e-statements for no fee option. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the local scoreboard, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty. Donnie Moore, got a lot of teams, several teams from Blount County that are still in it for state championships.
We do.
Teams and individuals.
Got some live and kicking, Mike. It's late in the year, but most teams have gone home, but we do have a few that are still in the running.
We talked about that the other night, at the awards ceremony there at the Clayton Center. How many teams year in and year out, and how many individuals from Blount County are around at state championship time and going for those state championships?
That's
a real unique situation in this county, and it's been consistent over the years. We talk about UT and their sports programs being consistent and outstanding, and they're going through a span now, and we talked about a span they had back in the 60s and 70s, but I'll tell you, Blount County, it's just, a lot of counties, they tend to, rebuild, but these teams here, we reload. Year in and year out.
Blount County can hold their own with any area in the state, Mike.
Outstanding area for high school sports.
Absolutely. Well, let's start off with high school baseball in the Class A sectional, and we'll move back to Wednesday of this week. Greenback and University High School dueled it out in a 3-game series in the sectional. Greenback won the first one. They played up at Sullivan East High School in Bluff City, I believe. Is that right, Marcus? Bluff City?
I'll go with that,
I
sure.
think that's right.
Did they have to travel up there twice, or did they stay over?
Yeah, I think they stayed over because they played a doubleheader on Wednesday and then played another game on Thursday.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. That'd be a long trip up there.
It would. I'm pretty sure they stayed over. But Greenback won the first game of the doubleheader 4-3. And in the second game, they were defeated by University High 6-4. So had to stay over and rest up and played a rubber match then on Thursday. And University High School won that game 11-8 and won the series 2-1. So in that sectional then, they put Greenback out for and ended their season. Greenback fought hard. I think Greenback was up 8-0, and University fought back. I think you're right. University High fought back and won that one. But Greenback had a great year.
They did, and we've had them on a couple times, and I've not bought into this system they're using with the 3-game series. But maybe it works better than some of the sectional plays that are going on in the upper levels.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's asking a lot for the smallest classification to be able to play a 3-game series.
It sure is. That's tough on anybody, but especially ones with a small roster. That's tough on those guys to play 3 games in 2 days. But anyway, congratulations to Greenback on making it as far as they did in the system. Let's move on to soccer. Thursday in the Region 1A Championship, Alcoa defeated Gatlinburg-Pittman 5-1. Leo Santos had a hat trick. Leo's getting hot. I think he's a sophomore, and man, that kid can play.
Well, now that he doesn't have to worry about school, he can dedicate himself to all of his soccer commitments.
This is true. But the Tornadoes are hosting a sectional match today, and so they will know this evening whether or not they will move on to the state tournament or
They're
not.
Playing Oneida, I think, tonight.
Oneida, that's correct.
I guess we're going to hope that they take care of that field and it's ready to play on tonight after the showers.
That's right. Do have a high chance of showers today. Move on to softball. Wednesday in the Region 1 2A Championship, Alcoa took care of Union County 3-1 in a match that was closer than they are used to having. But nevertheless, the Lady T's prevailed and moved on to the Class 2A sectional last night, and went back to playing Alcoa softball and shut out Meigs County 8-0. So they are moving on to the state tournament.
Get their good chance to defend.
That's right.
And that's tough to do.
It is tough to do.
Just to get back there to get your chance at it. So congratulations to them for getting there.
I think they've won 36 or 37 games so far this year.
So they get basically, this weekend, get going sometime on Monday, and then they probably open play on Tuesday.
I would say you're right. In the Class 4A sectional, Heritage was at Daniel Boone. They had to travel.
Same place they went last year.
Same place they went last year with the same result. Daniel Boone defeated Heritage 5-4 and ended Heritage's rather illustrious season. They had a tough fought season, and they showed some grit all year long. Lady Mountaineers lost this one 5-4 and ended their season. But we're proud of them. They did a great job this year.
They did, and the game with Farragut for the region championship, if you can get out of this region,
we've
the fact
said
that we
this
had
so many times.
So many, you got the 2 district teams playing again for the region championship, and you end up having to go to one of the toughest places to play that's not in this region, which is up at Daniel Boone.
Right, exactly. And a picture in an article earlier in the week in the Times, we want to congratulate Maryville Christian School Baseball for winning the 2023 National Association of Christian Athletes Division III National Championship. So we want to congratulate them from all of us at the Goatee Sports page. Pretty high honor right there. You win a natty for a local team.
Yeah, those don't come around every day.
Absolutely not. They don't. You're right. All right, we're going to segue now to veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature, Mark It Down. after we tell you that you're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, thanks, Donnie. I can't believe we didn't see this duo earlier last night or Thursday night when we did all the awards. But
I know, yeah.
We're pleased this morning. Maryville Tennis is joining us, and they're taking a break on their way to Murfreesboro very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach Christian Burns has brought in Maddie Myers and Leah Washburn, who are the Region 2 champions. Let's put that in there. First, congratulations, and for the people who didn't keep track, you all were playing another pair that you have seen a lot this season and had ups and downs with. Finally get the 6-2, 2-6, 6-2 win to move on to state. What was it like when you got the last point and this thing was finally over and you knew you were going to state tournament?
Well, honestly, it was a big relief, just to really get that win and put it away whenever they had left with the momentum in the second set. So it was just a good feeling.
Coach, I'm going to guess there was some coaching going on during this one. When they even it up, what do you have to do? What do you have to do? What do you have to tell these players?
We just got to change our mindset. And the first set, I was super pleased how we jumped out and made a fast start, and that was the key. And I reminded the girls that if we get the momentum going, we get the fast start, we jump out, we got a great shot to be a straight set win. Typically, the history between us and William Blount, it's always been 3 sets in girls doubles. And it's been that way for this makes 3 years in a row that we've played every match 3 sets. And in that second set, we started having some hiccups and unforced errors. And so it's just getting the mindset, regrouped again for that third set and giving us a shot to win a region title.
When you've got this type of situation that comes up, because you opened the season pretty early on with William Blount. Mm-hmm. Then you got to play them in districts. And, you get your region. You're playing them again. I mean, just how well in doubles have these two teams been playing this year that you all are playing each other in the region championship?
I can't speak for the William Blount girls, but I know for us, they're a brand new team. Leah's a freshman, Maddie's a sophomore. And, for them to have the first 2 matches, we dropped the first 2 matches for them. Matter of fact, as a team, we were 4-5 losses in the first 3 matches of the season. And just, trying to get our chemistry together. Our top 4 are 3 freshmen and a sophomore. And so just getting the freshmen under the learning curve and getting ourselves in position to start doing some things with momentum and getting some wins. And that was huge. Once we got over the hump of the 4-5s, then that was a game changer. After the first 2 matches, they went on a streak of 8 wins in a row as a doubles team. So for them to get their chemistry together and figure out ways to win, that speaks volumes.
You gave the perfect segue there. I'm going to give you kudos for that, because my next question was for them, and it was going to be, you took those a couple lumps early, and Coach Trail's fond of saying over here, you learn more when you lose than when you win. What did you learn from those first 2 matches that you had, those first 2 losses where you had to work on that led to that run?
I think we learned that, we hadn't played together much before. And, we played a little summer tennis, but it wasn't like we didn't play together. And so we kind of just had to figure out how we would work together and what worked best with us, even as far as, how we communicated in between points. And once we figured that out, it really started working for us.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I would say understanding our strengths and weaknesses and how we can benefit each other off of that was a big accomplishment within those 2 losses.
And Coach, that's part of it when you're going to make a doubles pair. There's a lot of chemistry involved.
Chemistry is huge,
and it's not like some of these sports. Take football for example, where you're pretty much just worried about them playing in high school. Tennis, they're playing all over the place in different circuits, different clubs, different what have you. Building chemistry at all on a team is hard, much less between a doubles pair. You got a secret playbook for that, or because you seem to have done real well with it here?
There's no secret playbook. It's just finding who communicates well together, who gels well together, and they've struck a really good bond and a really great friendship, and that's huge. I mean, if you've got a pair of kids that are out there that don't get along, don't mesh well together, it's not going to work. It won't work at all. I mean, you could be Nadal and Federer, and if the Nadal and Federer don't get along, it's not gonna jive.
Oh, and I was looking at Pekin State bracket. You've got a young team, but I did not see, when I'm looking across the board, not a lot of seniors this year in the state tournament. There's a lot of juniors, a lot of sophomores, a couple of freshmen. I think you've got one of the only ones, but it's kind of an odd year.
Very much an odd year looking at the bracket, absolutely. But I'm super proud for them as a freshman and a sophomore to be in the mix of this and to be a part of the Elite Eight.
So recap this a little bit for Maddie and Leah. You win in district. You got the district championship against the St. William Blount team. When you realize you're playing them for region championship, what are you thinking of as this is what we need to be working on, this is what we need to think about to get them again? Because you all know each other at this point. You all played them a couple times.
Yeah, I think for us, we know them personally, and one of the things that we noticed they really hated was whenever we would lob the ball and not give the net player a chance to even get a hit and having to keep them basically on the baseline the whole time. And that worked almost every single point that we could really get it into play. So I think just evaluating what necessarily they don't like works for us.
Well, when you get to state, you're going to be playing some people you haven't seen before. Is that more challenging than somebody you've seen and have gotten a feel for and know from other places than somebody you've never seen play before?
I personally don't love playing people that I know because we love them and we know them very well, and it's hard because in those kind of matches somebody has to win. So I think playing people that we don't necessarily know and people that we haven't seen before is going to be really exciting and see some good competition.
What's the excitement level about going to the state tournament right now? Is it pretty high, or is it still just a couple days away and I'll get excited when we're in the car?
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I think at the moment, like whenever you realize, oh my gosh, you're going to state, like everything's very refreshing. And you're like, we made it this far, so it's just a good accomplishment feeling.
Because you're the veteran for this. You've been there.
This is one of those things that we've placed someone there 3 years in a row, and that was the goal this year. And I challenged the kids at the beginning of the season. We put it up on the whiteboard. We were talking about all of our goals, and one of the goals was to get somebody to the state tournament again. And so mission accomplished. I feel really good about doing what we've done so far.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think Michael will appreciate this when I'm going to mention it, but tennis is a little bit different from the other spring sports. You don't get do-overs for the most part. Once you get to that region tournament, you've got to win your way. I think
whereas
it's
most
seven straight matches, but you don't get to drop one and then go over and do it again.
And all the other sports, you're playing like you're talking about the series. Playing 2 out of 3 in baseball. For us, it's we got to win and to punch our ticket to go further. Unfortunately, in tennis, they don't take 2 from the region, so like some of the other sports do.
Right.
But you got to win to get in.
So you get a true state champion.
That's right.
That's how I mention it.
Yeah.
A true state champion. You don't get a loss along the way. That if you win the state,
Correct.
you're going to go, well, we lost one time to get the state champion, because a lot of people's not going to understand that.
Yes.
Yes. I think that's great that you set up like that.
So that leaves a little bit different philosophy, because you just got to win. You can't just be like, well, we can rest this one. It's just playing for seeding anyway.
Correct.
It's every match is
every match counts. Every point counts.
So when you're looking ahead and you're looking at your players, you have a very short window to get them together to work as a high school team. What do you, coming from different places, and some of them play at one club or another, or maybe they play with one of your clubs in the summer program, you have to get them all together and kind of put all those pieces. How do you do that? Because it's like you've got to do it before it's even warm enough to play outside.
That chemistry starts in January when we start preseason conditioning. I mean, I give them a week. When we come back from Christmas break, I give them about a week to get settled in school. And then we hit the ground running with preseason conditioning and start forming those bonds and forming those friendships and working through doing agility ladders and medicine ball work and all that. And then, that's 4 weeks of getting ourselves ready to get outside, hopefully, if the weather's great in February. And that's how that rolls.
So now they've made state, if they can win state, do they get like an extra day off from medicine ball next year for conditioning? Is that like an incentive part of the program?
Possibly. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. They brightened up when I said that. Did you see their eyes?
Yeah. They love the agility ladder.
That was not the words I just saw flash across their face. Love was not the look I saw.
I know, but they do a great job in the preparation in the season, and all the hard work has paid off. Yeah. So I remind them every day, hard work pays off, and it's not easy. You got to go out there and play your best.
Well, I'm going to toss them a softball here, or maybe it's a curve. I'm not sure. I'm going to give you all a chance to give a shout out here, because if you've got a tandem and you've got to play against somebody, there's some people you've been playing together as partners against on the team and other places that have helped you improve over this season, right? Who have you played against on the team, and who has helped you all kind of bond together as your opponent, as the sparring partner, so to be?
I would say for me, like, we have a couple of boys, Tate and Spencer. They spend hours a week just practicing, prepping, getting better, and they're both just freshmen, so they're great. And also Kate Washburn, her twin sister, we have very similar playing styles, so I think keeping up that type of pace with her really helps me to just keep it together.
Yeah, and I mean really everybody, like our other girls doubles team, Perrin and Annie, they're a lot of fun to play against, and I think we do learn a lot from playing against them, and then Kate and Lexi. And the boys practicing with the boys and against them is really fun.
So you put them against each other, Coach?
I do.
Is that out of necessity, or is that out of formula?
That's by design.
By design.
By design. It's good for them to play against the boys, and it's a little bit better competition sometimes. Something a little different that they see. Mm-hmm. So we all hit together. We all practice together. So it's just a really good bond with our kids.
And so the conditions you're going into. Kind of describe what they're going to walk into with the courts and et cetera going on at state, because it's not like you're going to see on TV.
Correct.
For one match going on at one place. There's a lot of activity all at once. There
is, and it's going to be over at Adams Tennis Complex. They're familiar with it from the summer, going to junior team tennis state championships. They've been to that venue. They know what it's like to be in that atmosphere. A little bit different caveat is that we go into this situation, everybody there is good. We're part of the Elite Eight, and every doubles team there is going to be top-notch.
But in that complex, you've got how many courts going at one time?
There's 24 courts.
That's what I thought.
There's 24 courts, and it's really cool to be in that atmosphere.
Because in that dynamic, you've got not only doubles play, but you've got singles play going on in other classifications. You've
Correct.
got team play going on in other classifications. There's a lot of activity. Just finding your court and getting to the right place and getting a focus in with all that going on.
And hopefully the weather cooperates this year, that they don't change the match structure as far as shortening up the sets. So that happened last year to us, and it was unfortunate the way it happened. But we're hopeful for good weather, and we get our true 3-set match in.
Well,
2 out of 3.
According to AccuWeather, we're looking good. According to AccuWeather, rain was not really a thing. Heat might be a thing, but it was looking good for spring fling so far on the 7-day peek ahead. And I'll give AccuWeather a shout out. They've been helping me out with some other projects after the newspapers. But it's just a unique environment, and I hope y'all enjoy the trip up there. We want you to do well, but be sure to enjoy the ride up there and just being there and being a part of that atmosphere. And thanks for getting up this morning to come visit with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Marcus.
Appreciate it. Coach, you get to put another region plaque in that trophy case. I think we're going to have to expand some for you.
Yes.
Make some room. And like I said, we'll wish you all the best of luck.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you for having us on, guys.
Michael, go ahead and turn the page.
Okay, Marcus, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Daily Times sports editor Troy Provo Heron presents the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. Troy Provo Heron, Tennis Saturday.
It is a Tennis Saturday.
The Goatee Sports Page, so you're up.
Yeah, and we're joined by our co-players of the week this week, Baylor Cup and John Macon, and you guys know them from Thursday as well as our co-boys tennis players of the year.
Yeah,
so
they
had a very special week.
Both of them won the award, and they gave one award, and we was trying to get them to wrestle the deal to see who would get the award.
Brian's going to work on that.
I think we're going to get that.
We're going to get a second
fixed.
one. We're going to get a second one made, but yeah. And these guys are the back-to-back region champions in doubles this year. And but first, before we talk about that, I do want to talk to you guys about last year real quick, because we had you guys on when you won the region championship last year, and then obviously the whole debacle at state happened a year ago. So I do want to talk to you guys about that, and just what do you remember about last year's trip to state, the rain, having to move things, and all the things that kind of went into y'all's state experience a year ago?
The main thing I remember was just having no warm-up and going in cold. And I'm a player who needs a set to get warmed up, and I didn't have that. So that really threw us off.
It was just fast.
Yeah.
Super fast. Like I just remember going on the court and then going off the court. That's practically all I remember. And I was talking about my family last night, and we're just like how fast it went by. So
Baylor, John, you guys going to do like a rain dance before state this year, something to keep it away, anything like that? You guys been practicing anything like that?
We might have to start practicing something like that. I haven't looked at the forecast, but.
Oh, I have. It says sunny.
Okay, good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Guys, I take me back to the region championship. And I know I went back. I wasn't there on Thursday. I had to go cover a softball game, but I did rewatch it. I know you guys had some confidence about knowing that y'all would win Boys Tennis Players of the Year. Did y'all have that same confidence when you took the court for that region tournament and kind of knew that, hey, this is our tournament to win if we just play our tennis?
Yeah, especially especially since we'd already played them. I mean, we knew what we had to do to win, and we just executed.
You guys are such good doubles partners that you guys answer your own questions. You finish each other's sentences, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. It's that communication skills that we have.
How much has it helped to be playing together as long as y'all have and kind of understanding each other, and it kind of feels like y'all really do gel well together and all that stuff? Just how much easier does that make the game when y'all kind of have the relationship that you two have?
It's good, especially like it goes back to communication. We just have really good communication out on the court. We know what each other are going to do, and we never let like a mistake or one of those get to each other. So.
Guys, I got a little note from Mr. Scott Cup today. Baylor has to think that can't be good. But one of the things that's amazing about y'all's year this year is the fact that you guys don't know what a loss is this year. Baylor 18-0 this year in singles. John 16-0 in singles. Both of you guys together 24-0 in doubles. That's a combined 58 wins, 0 losses. One, what's it like to be unbeaten throughout a year? And two, just kind of how have you guys dealt with any pressure of maybe trying to keep that streak? I'm sure at some point you realize, like, look at each other and say, hey, we haven't lost one yet this year.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a confident guy. Baylor's working on his confidence. But every time I go into a match, I think, yeah, I'm going to win. And don't really second guess myself.
Yeah, he helps me with that when I'm playing doubles. I'm always like, oh gosh, but he's really helped me with the confidence part. So I've honestly gotten a lot better at when we go into doubles match, thinking that we can win this. So
it also requires a tremendous amount of consistency on y'all's two's part to do that, right? Because like one bad day and you guys can end up losing a match that maybe you don't think you're going to lose. Just how have you guys been able to remain so consistent with your approach to the game throughout the season?
I mean, I feel like I'm a very consistent person. So I feel like even
that's an understatement.
Even on like a bad day, I feel like I can hit with the person like that's across the court from me. And if John's at the net, I feel like if we're just going to have a few good rallies, then John's going to go across and put the point. So I feel like even on a bad day, we can still hang with them. So
I know it was like you mentioned, Baylor. It was a fast state trip yesterday. But was there anything that you guys learned from the experience that you guys feel like better suited for it this time around?
Our focus has to be there early.
Yeah,
that for sure. Because, yeah, as fast as it was, we started focusing later whenever we were down like 5-0, and then we got like 2 games, and then we got our confidence up, and then it was over again.
Yeah. It's just we got to be focused from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
and ready, and know that it's their last match too. So they're going to bring out everything, and so we got to too.
My understanding is that you have faced the team that you'll open with, the Station Camp team, and I think you beat them 8-0 in a Hendersonville tournament. How do you maybe, one, not overlook an opponent that you swept before, but two, just kind of how much confidence does that give you that you have beaten this team that you're getting ready to face on May 25th?
It definitely gives us a lot of confidence knowing that we've played them before and beat them. But like you said, we can't overlook them. It's a state tournament, and they made it there for a reason, and so they beat teams that, I guess they beat, and so we can't overlook that. And so we got to go in there thinking they're going to bring their best, and so we got to bring our best.
Yeah, we just know our game plan that we got to play, for sure.
Do you guys, obviously with as successful as you've been this year, do you guys have a sense that this is your year to kind of be there at the end with state championship in hand?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches have told us that we've gone and played that they think we look a lot better this year than we did last year, and they might just be saying that, but it does add a certain confidence to us.
Yeah, I think we deserve it this year. I think we've done a lot of stuff off the court. We've got more matches, good competition for practice, and so I think we're better prepared this year than we were last year.
Have you guys thought about what it would mean to y'all to have your careers end with a state championship? Obviously, it's something that, a lot of schools in Blount County haven't accomplished in state. I don't even know if we've ever had a state champion in tennis. Don't know my knowledge there, but just what do you guys think that would mean to kind of bring one back to the county?
I think it would mean everything, actually. I just kind of go out with a win, like knowing that's your last match, and if you can win it, and you're winning the state championship, I think that's like the best way to go out. So.
Yeah, William Blount has never had a state champion in tennis, and this has been my goal since freshman year, and it would make me feel like my tennis career has been a success if we finish out on top.
How could it not feel like a success already? But I understand what you're saying. Guys, just when you guys started playing together 2-3 years ago, however long ago it was, could y'all have ever envisioned that this is kind of the path that you would take and that you'd be here as one of the favorites to win a state championship, looking at a 58-0, potentially 61-0 season and all that stuff? Is it something that ever came to your mind when y'all first started playing tennis at William Blount?
Probably not Baylor thinking it would be in doubles, but I don't know, I always have that confidence that I thought that we could do something special. So I think so, yeah.
Baylor, you did start out as a singles player, basically. Just kind of take me back to that transition to doubles and kind of how you feel like you've adjusted to, playing as, a pair instead of just worrying about yourself.
I've never thought that I've been like I know when I first started, I was like, never wanted to play doubles. It was like, oh gosh. I was like, let down my partner every single time. So after about the first, I guess we didn't get our first season, but going into sophomore year, we started playing some doubles. I was okay. John's always been like John's a good doubles partner. Yeah. But I became more confident in it at doubles, knowing that I'm better at the net than I was even last year. And I've been able to get my balls from the baseline over more, so it's not right at the net person for them to kill John like last year.
Works on the reflexes.
Right. And so just the confidence that I've gotten a lot better in doubles has helped me a lot.
Is there a team at state you guys want to reach, you want to face down the road on the tournament bracket, or are you guys just focused in on Station Camp at the moment and worry about whoever else is there whenever we get there?
While we are focused on winning our first round, I would love to play the reigning state champion in Collierville.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we gotta not get ahead of ourselves, but really hoping we get to play the state champions that have won the past 2 years. So
because that makes it feel a little bit better, right? Like when you beat the team that won it the year ago, then
Yeah.
like nobody can say like, oh, well, you got lucky or the bracket kind of worked in your favor. When you go out there and beat the team that won it the year ago, you're the state champion, and nobody can take that away from you.
Right.
Well, guys, we really hope that that's what happens. And so I hope you guys know that everybody here at the Sports Page is cheering for you. We wish you the best of luck. And, if you guys can bring home a plaque, maybe we can have you on in a couple more weeks. How about that?
I like the sound
awesome.
of that.
Well, congratulations, guys, on your region championship. Best of luck at state. And, Mike, I'll give it back to you.
Okay, Troy, time for a break. And when we return, it's Sports Headlines with Donnie Moore in the Tennessee Smoky Spotlight. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
Hit a grand slam with Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union to win big on savings. On first, member managed funds account. On second, free spend account. On third, certificate accounts with competitive savings rates. Load your bases at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Must use e-statements for no fee option. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for this week's Sports Headlines with Donnie Moore. And Donnie, saw last night NFL off so great. Jim Brown.
Yeah, boy, I got that in the head.
Yeah, I figured you did.
Yeah, this I tell you, you don't lose people of that caliber in the NFL very often. But boy, when you do, you gotta tell about it. You know?
Well, there was a few of us who were around when he was playing, and he was a man among men. So I'm sure you got that in there, and I'll turn it over to you.
I do. You're right. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs first. Give a little update here. In the Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets lead the LA Lakers 2-0 with Game 3 of the series to be played at 8:30 p.m. this evening on ABC Network. Moving to the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat are battling the Boston Celtics, with the series standing at also 2-0 in favor of the Heat. Wow, Jimmy Butler is on fire. Jimmy Butler just kind of took the Heat on his shoulders last night.
Yeah,
well, you say that, Troy? Wouldn't you say?
Grant Williams probably shouldn't have gotten in his face.
Well, Grant Williams played well. He did everything he could do, but Butler just took him to school.
Grant shouldn't have poked that bear.
No, he shouldn't.
Jimmy Butler's a really good player. Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is a very, very good player.
Yes,
and,
he is. It kind of takes it to a whole nother level, doesn't he?
Yeah, and Grant shouldn't have poked that bear.
No, he shouldn't have. You're right. Game 3 moves to Miami tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m.
Celtics.
Yep.
Celtics win Game 3.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, keep it competitive anyway.
They'll figure it out. They've been a much better team on the road this postseason than they've been at home, which is strange. But
well, you're right. You're right about that. Well, we'll see what the Celtics see if they've got anything for the Heat. Well, Mike, as Mike alluded to a little bit earlier, Jim Brown, who some have called the greatest player in NFL history and an activist for social issues, died Thursday night at the age of 87 at his home in Hollywood Hills, California. Brown's wife, Monique, said, and this is a quote, "To the world, he was an activist, an actor, and a football star. To our family, he was a loving and wonderful husband, father, and grandfather. Our hearts are broken." Playing for the Cleveland Browns, he led the team to the league championship in 1964. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1971. He retired as the NFL's all-time leading rusher with 12,312 yards after earning 8 first-team All-Pro selections and 9 Pro Bowl honors during 9 NFL seasons. A 4-time most valuable player, an 8-time rushing champ, Brown averaged 104.3 rushing yards per game and never missed a game in 9 seasons. His successful acting career later included more than 50 film and TV roles, including The Dirty Dozen and 100 Rifles.
You know, he kind of quit at the peak of his career.
He did.
You'll remember.
Because he didn't want to miss a rehearsal.
Yeah, he didn't want to miss a movie.
For The Dirty Dozen.
And he just gave it up.
He just gave it up.
Gave it up right there when he was in his prime. It was. I remember when it happened. It was kind of a shocker.
Yeah.
You know, that he gave up football. And I don't. Did the Browns? I don't think the Browns ever won an NFL championship with Jim Brown, did they?
Was that? Well, let's see. He won. He led the team. He won the league championship in 1964.
Oh, in '64, the Browns won the.
They won
NFL.
the championship. In
I
64.
don't remember them winning. Do you, Coach Terrell?
Just one.
You know, that was back in the days of the Giants were really strong and
they were.
Then the Packers came on.
Yep. So he had some great years. A lot of people call him the greatest player in NFL history.
Yeah, well, he was a man among men.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He didn't run around you. He ran right over the top of you.
And if you've seen him in some of his movies, I mean, he's got some guns that just won't quit. Yeah. Oh, he was a moose. Well, moving on. Hey, rest in peace, Jim Brown. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont said yesterday he's planning to meet with the National Hockey League Commissioner Gary Bettman about the possibility of moving the Arizona Coyotes to Hartford. Lamont is hopeful the meeting can take place sometime next week. Relocation for the Coyotes has been talked about more and more since voters in Tempe this week rejected a referendum for a $2.3 billion entertainment district that would allow the franchise to build a new arena there in Tempe. Voters said, we're not going to cough up $2.3 billion in tax money. No. So Coyotes said, well, okay, we'd just like to move then. So Connecticut said, we'll take you. They used to have the Hartford Whalers.
The Hartford Whalers.
Yeah. So the governor says, okay.
They're going to spend money up there for them. Hell, I never heard of them.
Hartford Whalers or the Coyotes?
Coyotes.
They don't win too many championships out in Arizona for hockey. You got to spend too much money on the ice.
That's right. I mean, I don't know why anybody would want them.
Well, the WNBA kicks off its 2023 regular season. It's 27th this weekend. They played some games last night. Got some games today and tomorrow. Today's games include the Atlanta Dream at the Dallas Wings. You ever heard of those two teams?
Yeah.
Okay. At 1 p.m. today on ABC. At 3 p.m. today, also on ABC, are the Las Vegas Aces at the Seattle Storm. Very creative with their names.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's games include the Washington Mystics at the Connecticut Sun at 1 p.m. Don't even think that one's broadcast. Maybe on radio you could find it. The Indiana Fever at the New York Liberty at 2 p.m. You can find that one on Twitter. And the Chicago Sky at the Phoenix Mercury at 4 p.m. And that's the headliner. That one's on ESPN because that is the first home game of Brittany Griner. Marks the return of Brittany Griner. I knew you couldn't, Ray.
Oh, gosh.
You will be glued to the television to watch that one.
Moving on quickly.
Moving on.
Golly.
On this day, happening on May the 20th, in 1972, the 103rd running of the Preakness Stakes, Mike. The winner was a horse that you will remember well, Affirmed. You remember Affirmed? Yeah. Wins with Steve Cawthon, jockey Steve Cawthon aboard. And the winner was the second leg of the Triple Crown. Affirmed won the Triple Crown that year in 1972. That was a great year for Affirmed. Won the Derby and the Preakness and the Belmont Stakes that year. So that was the year we had the Triple Crown winner. Well, that's it for this week's sports headlines. Let's bring the Tennessee Smokies spotlight into focus. Back to you, Gunner.
Okay, we're back on the Goatee Sports page from the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm Mike Edwards, and it's time to bring our panel back in. Donnie Moore, Troy Provo-Heron, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Coach Ray Trail. Got a couple of things on UT before we move on, but UT is exploring the possibility of building a commercial entertainment district that will connect Thompson Bowling Arena to Neyland Stadium.
Maybe we can get the Arizona Coyotes down here.
Yeah, Knoxville's not afraid to take that on. Hotel, 12-story hotels in the planning, and condos, restaurants, retail space, and they're a little late. You know, when I had my tickets over there back in the day, my wife would have loved this. She said, "Go on to the game. I'll just shop over here in the retail area over here." I don't know, but they're going to connect, I guess, Thompson Bowling Arena and Neyland Stadium with this retail area. So, I don't know, Marcus, it's going to cost them some money, but sounds to me like it would be an improvement to downtown with a new stadium going in, baseball stadium, and this complex and so forth.
Well, that's kind of where I'm like, you're too late to me. I mean, I can see part of this in a way, but outside of some very selective multi-purpose centers, like New Orleans comes to mind with the hotels attached to the Superdome, you don't see many places at the college level that can support a hotel attached to an athletic venue. Now, you might be able to use it campus-wide as a place for people to stay when they're visiting campus. I'll grant you that.
I
think that's the goal.
Or entertainment that they have at Thompson Bowling or at Neyland Stadium.
To me, if you're going to that space, you can't call it a riverfront district because you can't get to the river from it because you're on the wrong side of Neyland Drive. You've got terrible foundations and footings under that entire part of the river.
Marcus is really worried about the underground areas that Tennessee is built on.
Well,
Marcus thinks the whole thing, Thompson Bowling and Neyland,
it's
all
going
to
the
in the
river.
big hole and be covered over by the Tennessee River. That's going to be the end of it.
Well, every time they build something down there or rebuild something down there, they find a sinkhole underneath it.
Well, let's put some concrete down.
But the other part is you're getting the city of Knoxville's committed to developing and is dependent on paying for a baseball stadium on developing an entertainment district on the other side of Broadway and Henley Street. So now you're going to try to compete with that in that very limited confined space?
I don't think it's a competition thing. I think both can coexist.
The only thing that's got going for it is that the venues on the Strip are dying and being bought up for housing.
That's why they need it, because this campus needs something that isn't just apartment buildings and classrooms.
But can they do that being on campus and on campus property? I'm not sure they can put bars and serve alcohol in those venues.
Serve alcohol.
Well, I'll tell you,
serve alcohol in the venues already.
I'll tell you,
not without being written up. They don't.
My economics professor at UT would have loved all this. Andy Spiva, you remember Andy? Andy thought Andy's dream was to have sailboats down there on the Tennessee River. He'd really be astonished to see what they're trying to do right now. But we'll see how that all plays out.
The reason why I think there's room for both is because I think that that'll do well during football and basketball season. But those aren't year-round. I think the one more toward East Knoxville for the baseball stadium is going to be really good in summertime, springtime.
Yeah. Troy baseball teams in Columbia, South Carolina won last night 5-0. Hooray! Finally got a win on the road and a little momentum.
They won the opener against Georgia 2 weeks ago, 2 on the road. So
and they're up
see if they can finish it off.
They're up to 15 wins in the Southeastern Conference now, I believe, 37 and 17 overall. I was looking up some things last night. If you got 18 wins in the SEC,
you're in.
73% of the time you've got yourself a post. So it seems like 18's, and if you get to the 19 or 20, it's a lock, pretty much. So they're still playing for that. If they don't get, if they get 16, or they can get to the 17 this weekend. But if not, going to have to get a win or so in the SEC tournament, probably.
I mean, I think they're firmly in NCAA tournament. I think you're talking about hosting a regional, if that's what you're talking about. And I do think a win today will be a big help in that regard, because I think that's the one thing that I think I've seen a lot of projection sites saying is the one thing we don't know is if Tennessee can win on the road, and no matter what they do, they're going to have to go on the road for a super regional most likely. I think that's kind of hurting them. You go out there and beat, granted, a South Carolina team that struggled a little bit down the stretch, but Andrew Lindsey pitched amazing yesterday, and offense did enough to win the game. You go out there and win one today. Heck, if you go out there and sweep today, I think you feel pretty good about your hosting chances, especially since if you sweep today, I think you're the 5 seed in the SEC tournament, so you get the worst team in the tournament to open, so kind of feel like you're going to get a win, and that would be a big help.
Yeah, and the Lady Vol softball team defeated Northern Kentucky 12-0 yesterday in their first game of the NCAA tournament. And I've got to ask Troy this. They've got, gosh, I hate to even mention this because it's always death, but they've got the Indiana Hoosiers today.
Here we go.
And we've already lost to them in basketball. They lost to Indiana in basketball, and then last year Notre Dame from Indiana knocked them out of the men's tournament. I just is there any chance? Is there any? God forbid, is there any chance that this Indiana softball
But how
team
does this happen? Because this is what I'm looking at this last night. In Alabama, who was the fifth seed in the SEC tournament, is hosting a regional as the number 5, which I don't understand. But I'm looking at who they've got: Middle Tennessee and Central Arkansas, and Tennessee's a higher ranked seed, number 4, and they get Indiana and Louisville coming down here. How does that work?
So it doesn't. So I think a lot of people think that it's done by seeding. So like the number 1 overall seed gets the worst second seed. That's not how it's done. It's geographically how they kind of fix the regions together. So these teams are the 2s and these teams are the 3s, and we're trying to make it geographically fit for everybody. And so Tennessee sort of just gets the short end of the straw there, where they get 2 pretty decent teams.
Really, because Middle Tennessee is so far away from Knoxville?
No, but it's not. It's not as far as Indiana would be from Alabama.
Yeah.
And Northern Kentucky's still pretty close. So.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but it is the system.
The Lady Vols sort of in the situation that men were in last year. They won the Coach Trail. They won the regular season SEC. They won the tournament. Now the expectations are really high.
To get to Oklahoma City.
You know, if you don't go deep run in the tournament, make it to the finals or whatever, may be a little disappointing, after you've set yourself up here, huh? Or not. I don't know.
they put too much emphasis. To me, to win the conference is the first big step.
Yep.
You win, which gives them some leeway.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is you can have a bad day and be out.
Yeah.
You
can.
It's a tough deal, but I think winning the conference and the way they won the conference means more to me than when playing somebody all over the damn country.
Yeah.
I like them though.
I think they got a good. They got two good pitchers.
You're not even throwing your ace senior pitcher out there in your opener, which makes sense. But you get a no-hitter out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great way to open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying that's great, but I'm just then you go to all this other stuff, and it kind of takes to me, a little bit off of what you've really accomplished.
Yeah. I think anytime you win an SEC championship in a sport where bats are involved, you've done pretty good for yourself. It's hard to call that season a failure.
Yeah, I know it, but I mean that's what people will do. If they don't keep doing good.
Right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit, and next Sunday will be the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. So I've tried to put this on Troy and Coach Trail's level, Donnie, here this morning a little bit. I took a lot. It took a lot of research to do this, really.
Right, this is
I've come up with the
event.
Indy 500 questions you were too embarrassed to ask. Trying to get it down there to their level here. And the first one was, what do Indy 500 drivers do if they have to go to the bathroom during the race?
Turn left.
During the race. And
turn right.
There was mixed. They actually had several drivers that were asked this question, and Danica Patrick said that 1 year they hadn't completed 25 of the 200 laps, and she had to go.
So she went.
And she says, "I can't do this. I cannot do this in the car right here." So she held it for 500 miles. That's got to be a record.
That's got to be.
That's 175 laps that she held it. Helio Castroneves.
How did she finish in that race?
I don't know. It might have been the year she finished third, in fact. It might have been that year.
What a motivator.
Yeah.
You drive really fast when you're trying to get to the finish line, right?
Helio Castroneves, Helio just said, if you got to go, you got to go. And one driver, I'm not going to mention his name, he said, it's very unfortunate if you got to go because if you hit the wall, it could come out of both ends. I thought that was a pretty good remark that somebody could make. But how many pit stops did they make? Could be 6, could be 7. And how long do they last? 7 seconds for tire and fuel in the automobile.
That's fast.
Yeah.
I believe I'd get some of those diapers or something, just in case I need to pee.
Yeah. Why does the 500 driver drink milk in Victory Lane? Well, it started in 1936. Louis Meyer's mother thought that it would be refreshing if he won the race to drink buttermilk. So she brought buttermilk to the race and brought it down. He won, and she brought it down to Victory Lane, and he drank buttermilk. And from 1936 on, they've had milk in Victory Lane.
And
now the drivers
that's still a choice today.
That's right. You in Victory Lane can choose ahead of time. You have to choose ahead of time whether you want whole milk or skim milk. No chocolate. Now,
what if you don't drink dairy?
Now, in 1993, there was a controversy because Emerson Fittipaldi from Brazil won the race, drove into Victory Lane. They handed him the bottle of the milk for all the photos and everything. He would not take it. He wanted orange juice. He wanted orange juice because he had orange plantations down in Brazil, and he didn't want the milk being showed in any of the pictures. So it created a real stir.
What do they do if they're lactose intolerant?
I don't know.
They can still
they just pour it all over their head.
Yeah,
that's where it ends up anyway, so they just pour it.
They don't have a milk alternative
they
like
can
an
still
oat milk
choose
or an
buttermilk
almond
today.
milk?
They can still choose buttermilk. That's correct.
I don't know why they would, but they
Why
can.
does a winner kiss the bricks? Well, that was a NASCAR deal. Dale Jarrett actually did the first in 1996
kiss the bricks, and that's been continued. How long
I thought it was because there were bad building codes in Indianapolis. You just kissed them to make sure they stayed together.
Well, yeah. Hey, how long does the 500 take? 3 hours plus, depending on the caution flags. The fastest race was in 2021, 2 hours and 37 minutes it took to run it. Do 500 winners climb the fence? That was begun in 2001. The answer is yes. Helio Castroneves, the Spider-Man, he has climbed the fence there 4 times, and if he wins the 5th on Sunday, he'll be back to the top of the fence on the main straightaway. Gets out of his car, climbs up on the fence, and does his.
Lon would have done that too.
He does his deal. He does his deal. But
who's on the pole?
They are qualifying at Indianapolis today.
Okay.
It starts around 11 or 12 o'clock, and of course, qualifications are a lot different than they were in the past years. When back in the day when I was growing up, you got 3 chances to make the race. Only 3 qualifying runs, and once your 3 was up, that was it. It lasted 2 weekends, and in order to win the pole position, you had to qualify on the first day. You could have the fastest time in the field, but if you didn't qualify on the first day, you had to start back in the field. So first day was always pole day, and there were 90-some cars usually entered in the race. Now this year there are 34 cars entered. So there will be 1 driver and 1 team that will not run. They'll be bumped from the field. And then, of course, back in the day when you had 90-some, there was a lot of people that didn't make the race, so it was real competitive. The way the qualifying set up today, positions 13 through 30 will be locked in. So if you qualify 13 through 30 today, you're done. You don't have to come back tomorrow.
Gotcha.
We'll see you on Carb Day next Friday for a shakedown session. On Sunday, tomorrow, the top 12 will go again to battle for the pole on Sunday. They'll make a run of 4 more laps, and then they will take the top 6, and then they'll run 4 more laps, and then the pole position will be decided. So they've got to make 3 qualification runs, the top 12, in order to vie for the pole position. But they cannot start any less than the position they first qualified in. So if you're 12 and you're in the top 6, then you move up to the first 2 rows, you see, because there's some advantage to that. And then positions 31 through 33 tomorrow will be decided. It'll be a bump day, and one of those teams will be out. That'll be sad when you got all this money and sponsors and one team's not going to start. Something that's interesting so far is Ray Hall, David Letterman's team, and Lanigan. That race team, they're having difficulty getting up to speed. They've got 3 regular drivers, and Graham Rahal being one of those drivers in that team, and they have a driver there, a lady that has not run in the Indianapolis 500 for 10 years. Catherine Legg is her name. She has the fastest time of that team. The 3 regular drivers are behind her, and she's not run in Indianapolis for 10 years.
And she's going to race?
She's going to race, yeah. She's on that particular team.
Damn.
So that's an interesting spot. Joseph Newgarden, one of the top drivers that's had one of the top speeds during, he drew the last qualifying spot. So they don't go by how fast you win all week and put you in line to qualify. You draw a number. And, of course, it's always advantageous to have the first number because the track's a little cooler, when you go out feeding. But he drew the very last spot.
Tennessee boy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the top 10 people that have run this week, the top 10 people, their times are separated by .0018 of a second.
18 hundredths of a second.
18 thousandths of a second. Now you're talking about the top 12 runs.
Wow.
That's going to qualify for Sunday to go for the pole. Right now, .018, 18 thousandths of a second are separating the first 10 times.
Good thing they've got electronic timing.
You better not bobble.
No.
You better not make very many mistakes out there. You're in a heap of trouble. The record for qualification was made at 236.986 by Ari Leindijk in 1996. And this was a situation where he didn't qualify the first day, so he was back in the middle of the field.
God.
He qualified the second weekend and holds the track record for the best time. Woo. The fastest time so far this month is Takumo Sato at 234.753. You know, that's 2.5 miles and, you know, just a little bit past 40 seconds.
Yeah, that's quick.
Yeah.
Mike, who are you picking to win?
Who am I picking to win? I'm picking Scott Dixon. I'm picking Scott Dixon to win the race because he's always
local boy.
Consistent. Scott Dixon is consistent. He's won there before. He would have won last year, but he got penalized for going in the pits too fast, moved him all the way back to 18th position. And, you know, the racing at the Indy 500 has never been closer or more exciting because you'll have 17 or 18 cars on the same lap, you know, pretty much the entire time. Where back in the 60s and the 70s, there might be 2 or 3 cars on the same lap, you know. But now, because of all the cars being made up pretty similar, they've got Honda engines and Chevrolet engines, you know, being the 2 power plants, the competition is just is really tough. But Dixon has led more 500 laps than any other driver in history. He broke Al Unser Sr.'s record last year, and then Al Unser Sr. Broke that record. He broke Ralph De Palma's record there in the late 80s. I believe De Palma had that record from 1915 until Al Unser Sr. But Dixon has led more laps than anybody else.
I'm about to shock Mike. I have a pick.
Yeah, who you got?
I'm going to take Marcus Ericsson to repeat.
I like him.
Yeah,
he's
got the whole contract dispute with Ganassi Racing right now, and he's got something to prove. Yeah. So I'm going with Ericsson.
He's been the 4th fastest time of the week. It's a good pick. It's a really good pick. And Penske has dominated that race, but he's 0 for 3 the last 3 years. Penske Racing Team could be their year this year. Joseph Newgarden has not won. Scott McLaughlin has not won. That's on that team. Will Power has won. So we'll see what happens there. Big story, can Castroneves win his 5th? Now, A.J. Foyt won his 4th in 1977, and I think he went 17 more years until he retired, and he never could win his 5th.
Yeah.
He had the best shot of winning 5 or more. This, you know, Castroneves is running out of years.
Yeah,
so
he is. I'd like to see Elio win.
I would like to see him. I would like to be there to see him win his 5th. That would be.
I would too.
And he's a great promoter for the sport.
Yeah, he is.
Very personable, and of course we've all met him.
We met him in the parking lot
down at Barber Sports.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
met him in the parking lot.
You know, the thing is, when you have as many cars as they got all running at the close together. I mean, you know, what did you say a while ago? 1.8.
Yeah, 18,000th of a second.
Yeah, I mean, if they're all anybody's subject to win.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I mean,
exactly. It doesn't matter where you start anymore because you know and a lot of it boils down to fuel mileage and pit stops.
Yeah,
true.
You
Strategy.
You make a mistake in the pits or you're penalized or whatever, it could ruin your day pretty easily. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, the panel presents the Shelter Insurance Bold Predictions segments. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
Dunkin' has what you need to conquer the day. So if you want to go from, I don't got this, to, I got this, well, then get this. A bold, smooth espresso drink from Dunkin'. Like a layered velvety caramel macchiato, a rich chocolatey mocha latte, or a creamy non-dairy oat milk latte. Because this day isn't going to conquer itself. No, you're going to do that. Take a sip of You Got This with Dunkin' Espresso drinks. Order ahead on the app plus earn rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
To the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Shelter Insurance Bowl Predictions segment. And I thought it would be good that we got back into a little horse racing since all of us got shut out, Donnie, in the Kentucky Derby.
We did indeed.
I think you came as close as anybody else as far as picking the horses. But the Preakness will be run today, and Kentucky Derby winner Mage is the only horse in the field that ran in the Derby. There will be 7 horses. They had a scratch, I think, yesterday.
They did.
And there's 6 horses. That means 6 horses. Coach Trail will be fresh.
Yeah.
It's the first time since 1969 that just one Kentucky Derby horse has been in the field. Donnie, you surprised there's not more Kentucky Derby horses here, or is it? If you're not the winner in the Derby, it's just sort of. It's just not as meaningful, or what's the deal?
In a way, I'm surprised, but then again, in a way, I'm not surprised because of all the controversy and the illnesses and injuries and deaths, around some of the horses that were in the Derby, Mike. Some explained and some not explained. So I can, I'm not surprised that a lot of the owners and trainers said, hey, I'm going to take my horse and go home. I'm not going to take a chance on ruining my investment. So I'm the reward is not worth all the money and time that I've put into this horse. So I'm just going to go on.
Yeah.
So yes and no, to answer your question. I've been thinking about this and looking back over the race that Mage ran at Churchill Downs, and when he got the kick in the home stretch right there and just blew the field away, I can't see that any other horse would have a chance in this race coming up. So I'm gonna put my money on Mage to win this race, but. Here again, I've been looking at a couple of other horses too, and I see that there's a horse called National Treasure.
That's right.
National Treasure has won some races, won a lot of money. It's a Baffert trained horse.
That's right.
And National Treasure may be the horse to challenge Mage in this race. So I'm going to pick National Treasure to finish second, and I'm going to pick a horse named Blazing Sevens, trained by Chad Brown, to finish third in this race. I'm going to pick the trifecta right here.
You're going to pick the 3 favorites.
Yeah, the 3 favorites right there.
I didn't know that, but that's the way I'm picking them.
Coach Trail, there's only 6 horses. Like we said, there's only 7 horses in the field. A lot less trouble to get, a lot less chance of getting in trouble. They had 19 or 20 horses in the Derby, and you got to be careful getting out of the gate. But not so much with 7. It's been a lot of track there for 7 horses.
Oh yeah, and that's great too. I mean, if you're got a good horse,
I hadn't even looked at the odds.
You got a great chance to win. I mean, it's open field more or less. You're not going to get bumped in and all of.
Yeah.
It'll be a straight race.
Yeah. Let me ask you now. This has been the trend over the last several years. That the Kentucky Derby winner, he has had that race. There in Kentucky, but some horse owners hold their horse out. They'll run them in the Preakness, or maybe they'll hold their horses out and run in the Belmont.
Right.
Those are fresh horses.
Yep.
How much of a difference does that make, running against somebody a horse that ran 2 weeks prior to that?
Yeah. But some horses have the endurance and some don't. And some guys, that you've seen people run the Kentucky Derby that didn't run in the Preakness.
Yeah.
Because their horse is not a longevity horse.
Yeah.
And that you got to know your horse is what you got to know.
Yeah.
You got to know your horse.
Yeah.
And whether some horses can run every 3 weeks, 2 weeks, no problem.
Yeah.
Some can't. Some can't. It's just like people. Some guys can run longer than others, and some recover quicker. And I really think some of this is this drug thing that they're going through that maybe you don't want to take a chance.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ifs and ands about whether you want to run the horse or not.
Yeah. From the horse's safety too.
Yeah. You got to look at all deal.
You take Mage. He's already won the biggest race there is, the Kentucky Derby, and if you're looking at getting money, for breeding purposes, you certainly don't want to lose that horse.
Nope.
So
I mean, really, the way he ran the Kentucky Derby, I'm not sure I'd run him in this race. I might hold him out and come back with the next one.
I guess that brings me to my next question, Marcus. Is the Triple Crown as big a thing as it once was? Huh?
No, it's not. People want to watch the race, and they'll get excited when you've got a potential Triple Crown winner, but the excitement's just not there like it used to be in horse racing in general, but especially for the Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
If you had somebody who was a favorite, had a lot of hype, and won the Kentucky Derby, sometimes that happens, but it's just not as people aren't looking for it like they used to.
Yeah.
Triple Crown.
Certainly the story was the Secretariat was so big, not because he was such a great horse and he won the Derby. It was because the horse was syndicated, like she had sold out shares.
Mm-hmm.
And she really needed to come out to win the Triple Crown, Coach. She couldn't just win.
Yeah.
She really needed to win all those races to cover what she needed to get to come out on the horse, and not lose the farm that her dad owned, pretty much. I think that was a lot of it. Tweety, Miss Tweety.
A lot of those horses back were individually owned.
Yeah.
A lot of them now, if they do something, you get 100 people putting money
Well,
on.
Mage is a perfect example. They had people down there in Victory Lane that, they had shorts on and ball caps. And,
That's right.
I've got $100 in this horse or whatever.
Or 1,000 or 100,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what I say. It's not like it used to be. It used to one guy owned the horse, and that was the way it was. But now they got these syndicated and everything else.
Well, on top of that, you got some people that are saying, "Oh, this is abuse of the animals," and same side, you've got another one saying that they're methane factories and we shouldn't be breeding them this way.
Yeah. Well, I always thought that that you and I and maybe everybody on the Goatee Sports page here and we could get Condridge Holloway involved, and we could get us a horse. I thought the name, not so much the horse, but the name would be we call the horse the Artful Dodger. I thought that was a great name for a horse. Huh? I don't know if Condridge would let us use that name, but I thought that'd be a great name for a race horse, the Artful Dodger.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a 1.65 million race today. It'll go off at 7 o'clock, I believe. tonight. They used to go off at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Now they moved it all the way back to 7 o'clock to run the race. But here are the odds, and they could have changed as of this morning. But Mage 8-5, National Treasure 4-1, Blazing Sevens 6-1, Red Root 1 10-1, Perform 15-1, Coffee with Chris 20-1, and Chase the Chaos 50-1. That sounds like you, Marcus. Last time you had the.
No, if you give me my choice, if there's coffee involved, that's my pick.
There we go. All right, you're going to go with Coffee with Chris, right? Is that going to be it?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Troy, who you got?
I'm going with National Treasure. I know Baffert likes to put some funny juice in his horses, and I think he does it again today. And National Treasure is going to run a really good race.
Question is, will he get caught this
yeah,
time? Huh?
Yeah.
And Donnie, you had Mage.
Yeah, I do too.
And Coach Trail.
Yeah, just for the fact that the interest story about the Triple Crown.
Coach Trail has.
I like
Mage.
National Treasure awfully well, though.
Yeah, well, I got to pick somebody. I got to pick a horse nobody else is picking.
You don't have to.
No, I got to. Yeah, I got to pick another. I'm thinking.
There's always a problem.
I'm looking here at Blazing Sevens, and I'm thinking Blazing Saddle.
I like that one. That's why I like that horse.
I'm going to go
anywhere good.
It's 6-1.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Blazing Sevens.
Mel Brooks, trained
Yeah.
by Mel Brooks.
Yeah, and hope that they fed that
Let's
horse.
put a race backwards.
I'm hoping they fed that horse beans.
Around the campfire.
Huh? Around the campfire before he runs.
This show is disintegrating.
You know what?
It's time to get out of here.
We've had a lot of fun picking these horses over the Derby and the Preakness, and I guess we'll be back for the Belmont. But I tell you, I don't think any of us would be winning much money.
I tell you what, I better keep our wallets in our pockets. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Hey, Donnie, with these picks, we better get out of here.
We better. You're right.
Yeah. Hold on just a second. I'll be out next week. Marcus, good luck to you, or Troy, or
somebody.
We're going to figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Figure it out. But hope you all have a great show, and I hope everybody listens in next week. And I'll be on the fourth turn. I'll be waving at you there on television.
Sounds good. We'll look for you.
All right, give us the whistle. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael at Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Coach Ray Trail, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Troy Provo-Heron, and Brian Johnston back at the Goatees. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone